are party prepping. In a couple of weeks, it's Mia's birthday and we haven't yet decided what we're doing for the day, but we do know we still want her to have a birthday cake, listen to some cheesy music and just basically celebrate with family, her cousins. So we have decided we are hosting a birthday party at home. So in today's video, I'm gonna take you through all of our party food prep, exactly how we're getting organized in advance, as well as how we are keeping it budget friendly. Because although I say it's just a little party, close immediate family, and not everyone's able to make it, we are still hosting 10 adults and 6 children. So quite a few mouths to feed. So to help plan Mia's party, we've been using this kids party food prep book, which I'll link in the description below. It's got some tips to help you plan your party, some advice, how to make it budget friendly, games ideas, as well as some make ahead recipes. And there's also some handy checklists at the back. There's also some good information if you are catering for allergies, which we are because my niece is dairy free. So we'll also be making sure we cater for her as well. So we have planned our party food, and to keep it simple, something that both kids and adults like, we have decided we're gonna do a pizza party, which means our food prep today is to actually make the pizza dough and of course the sauce. Why make it?
Because it is super easy and super cheap.
So we started off by making the pizza dough, and I do have a stand mixer which I used with my kneading attachment, and it just made the kneading process a bit easier. But if you don't have one, you can just knead it by hand instead. So you can see here it's super easy to make. We just started off by activating the yeast for 5 minutes with some warm water and sugar before adding the rest of the ingredients. Now I will link the full recipe with instructions in the description below, but I've been using the recipe for a while now and trust me, the results are good. So this has been kneading now for a full 5 minutes, and when you think you're done, there is a simple test that you can do to make sure. It's otherwise known as the window pane test, and basically means that you should be able to stretch your dough until it's very, very thin before it breaks. And now the dough is ready. What I've done is I've sprayed some oil inside the bowl, put the dough back inside, given it a roll around to cover it, and I'm gonna leave it covered in cling film for around 60 to 90 minutes to puff up. And whilst it does its thing, it's time for us to make the sauce. Okay, so once both the sauce and the pizza dough are ready, both can then be frozen until the day before the party. So we froze the dough once it had proved for around an hour, and then split it into 4, froze each dough individually. When it came to the sauce, you want to make sure you cool it down before putting it in the freezer. So I popped the pan into some cold ice water, but I actually didn't want to waste any ice, so I just used some ice packs, and within 10 to 15 minutes it was cold enough to freeze, which you can either do into a bag to freeze flat if you want to save space, or into a silicone food cube tray, which you can then later pop out and into a freezer bag. But first, let's talk about cost, because the whole point of making all of this stuff beforehand is to save money. So I priced up the cost of actually making the dough myself using a supermarket app, and each dough could easily be split into 4 to give us 4 pizza bases. Now I knew it would be cheaper making it ourselves, but was blown away that each base actually only cost us 21p, which is crazy cheap, even more so because it tastes so good. It's a similar story when it comes to the sauce. So we usually use a tinned pizza sauce, which costs us £2.25 when we buy it in our local supermarket. So again, I priced up the cost of making it ourselves. Now I doubled up our recipe, which meant that the whole sauce cost us £4 to make. But this gave us 1600 grams of sauce, which is the equivalent of 4 jars of sauce for less than half the price. And we still got some in the freezer too. So that's a quick summary of the food we prepped long in advance. The rest of the prep we did either on the day or the day before, but to help us keep track of what we had done, what still needed to be done, what needed defrosting, all the good kind of stuff, I printed off some checklists from my party prep book that I mentioned before, and that helped us keep track of everything. And then it came to party day. So we made Mia's birthday cake and some dairy-free cupcakes the day before, and we actually could have done pretty much all of the other food prep the day before, but we just ran out of time. So we did it on the day, which was fine for us because we weren't hosting until later on in the afternoon. So when it came to the pizza prep, to make it a little bit easier, we rolled out the pizza dough in the morning.
You need to make it bigger like Daddy one.
So obviously once it defrosted and it had a chance to come to room temperature, we then part baked each pizza base for 3 minutes each. Now, to be honest, we could have done this before freezing, but we didn't have enough room in the freezer to store them all. Then it was just a case of grating the cheese, which you know I made as easy as possible, and getting the toppings ready to top the pizzas with later. Still keeping the cost down, we decided to serve the pizzas alongside some Caesar salad and some garlic bread, which was 37p a loaf and dairy-free, so it was a win-win for us. One of my favourite foods to serve at a kids' party is also watermelon. So we had cake, obviously, but I always like to serve a healthier option, especially at a kids' party, and for me, watermelon always delivers. So aside from the fact it's a massive hit with my kids, it just goes such a long way. Now, if you cut your watermelon like this, you get around 50 to 60 finger slices of watermelon. Now that feeds a lot of kids. Despite doing the whole thing on a budget though, in all seriousness, the party was a massive hit. We also played some games which both kids and adults could join in with too, and of course, finished it off with a disco, just using a £9 disco light that we bought from Amazon. Needless to say, Mia had the best time and has been talking about it ever since, and you don't always need to get sucked into spending a fortune, even if you're hosting quite a crowd. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe, because on my channel, I give you all kinds of ways to help you save money on your food shopping, not just when it comes to party food, as well as helping you find ways to make mealtimes easier.